when the water table goes down at Douglas Lake, you can walk the lake.
Oh, wow.
And so I found this and wrapped it and made the necklace.
Yeah.
So I've collected rocks from, I love found objects. So I've gone to Arkansas and gone into the crystal mines and dug up crystals, and gone to the Great Lakes and picked up geodes and crystals and fossils.
My name's Chris with Cherokee Auto, and I'm here with Miss Baily Earith.
There it is.
Yeah. Miss Baily Earith, and she is, this is a little different than what we normally do. Miss Baily is going to be an author and a poet.
I am an author and a poet, absolutely.
Yep. And she lives here in East Tennessee in Maryville.
Right.
And so she's going to talk about her books and going to talk about her art a little bit and kind of what she does with her free time. And then we're going to put some links to her Facebook and her TikTok on the bottom. We're going to put a link to Amazon where you can actually buy her 2 books. And then you can actually give her a call at 865-719-9525, or you can text her and she'll actually sign a book and send you a signed copy of the book as well. And so just kind of talk about what it is that you do with your time.
I am always being creative, just always creating. So either I'm working in my studio on my fiber art, or I'm writing, or I'm out in nature getting inspired for either of those 2 creative endeavors. So I am creating constantly. Even when I'm sleeping, I'll wake up in the middle of the night with an idea, and it's jotted down on a pad of paper.
Yeah.
So always.
That's good. That's so tell me about some inspiration that you've received from nature lately.
Last year I went down to Florida, and Florida is really good inspiration for my poetry because there's a lot of craziness happening in Florida. And so I just watch and write about the things that I'm seeing, and there's a whole chapter in my second book about things I've seen in Florida.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, this sounds very entertaining.
Very entertaining.
So do you get, does it have a lot to do with the ocean and the sand and the beaches, or is it just in Florida?
It's more the people and the signs and the just quirky things that I see.
Yeah. That's interesting. We also wanted to mention that Earith, her last name, comes from a little town in England.
Yep, Earith, England.
Yep, Earith, England. So her email address is Baily, Bailey, at BailyFiberArt.com. And you mentioned that you don't really care when somebody calls you or texts you. They can 24/7.
24/7. It's all good.
Yeah.
If I'm not available, the phone's on silent, so just feel free to do whatever works for you, so you don't forget to. You can get it off your to-do list. And, and it's on mine. Yeah.
That's pretty neat. She's also open for speaking almost anywhere out of town. She does keynote speaking opportunities, and then she's also available for speaking. You mentioned like in a women's group.
Women's group, corporate retreat, bookstore,
That's cool. You've mentioned, we're going to talk about your 2 poetry books now, but you've mentioned that you've got a moniker. Tell us about your moniker.
Well, when you read at a poetry reading and you regularly come, then you are granted a moniker by the people who run the poetry reading. And I do poetry readings down at Central Cinema every month.
Yeah.
And they gave me the moniker of Haiku Queen. So when I get called up, I'm Baily the Haiku Queen.
Yeah, we've seen some movies down there. That's a really nice, some comedians. That's a really nice little area down there. Yeah,
it's a nice venue. It's a very special place.
It is very nice. I agree with you. So she's got a series of books that she's going to talk about now. 2 books so far. It's called Musings on Life series. And so your first book is called Musings on Life, A Poet's Observation. And so you're going to talk about some of the book there, and you're going to read us a little section of the book.
Sure, absolutely. So this is my first book. And I did all the artwork for the cover. That's one of my fiber art pieces, a landscape that I dyed all the fabric and hand beaded. And then I did all the artwork on the inside are mandalas, hand-drawn pen and ink mandalas, which give the reader an opportunity to pause, because it's not a novel. You want to read one and think about it. So you sit and you can look at a beautiful picture, which is mandalas are an energy form. And so it just gives you a chance to pause. It gives you white space if you want to take notes about what your thoughts are. And so the whole book is loaded with different ones, different
Those are
mandalas.
beautiful. Yeah, that's really neat. How long does it take you to draw something like that?
About 3 days.
Wow.
3 days, hours every day. Yes, I start from a blank page and then make the framework and then do the pen and ink details and then do the shading. So it's quite a process.
Yes, that's beautiful.
So you want to hear something from here?
Yes, ma'am.
My poetry tends to be, I like things that are funny. I like things that have double meanings. So you sit there and go, oh, and you go, wait a minute, it could have meant this. And then you talk about it or you think about it. Everything that I write is based on reality. It's nothing nonfiction here. Here's one. Gifts. You left gifts at my front door. Bizarre offerings. A rake, a shoe, a deflated ball. Not unlike a dead mouse left by a feral cat. So there's things in here about loss of love, a loved one, things about narcissistic relationships and how to survive them, fun things about vacations, and then there's a lot about that's just inspirational, just to boost your emotions that you're feeling good about yourself.
I'm excited about getting to read your. It sounds very entertaining.
I've heard good things.
Of course.
Let's see. What's a good one to read here? Oh, that flowers. That's another. Flowers. I love flowers. You won't allow flowers in the house. You wonder why I'm not grateful for the flowers you severed with the mower and placed on the table outside my window.
That's funny. And that's real. Like that's we've all done that. So we have I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally cut flowers down in the yard, and then later on, she'll be like, what happened?
This is about a friend of mine who passed away right before the book was written. Bud's truck. Old white pickup truck sits unused in the yard. Day after day, rusting, collecting dust. Nothing is wrong with it. It runs fine. Or at least it did. Last one, the vanity plate reads, tongue-in-cheek when purchased, yet somehow he knew he would die first.
Aww.
And,
all right.
And because I'm the Haiku Queen, I have to give you a haiku.
Oh
no, not that one. It just doesn't vibe for me. I'll take chocolate, please.
So simple, but it definitely reminds me of standing in front of the ice cream window in New York City a couple of weeks ago at 10 o'clock at night, knowing that we shouldn't eat ice cream that late, trying to figure out which ice cream I was going to eat. It reminds me of that personally,
Yes. That's what they're very approachable.
Yeah, it's a very
I've got
real life.
one fan who has my book with me all the time, my book with her all the time, and she's going through menopause and she's got a lot. She says, this keeps me sane. I just pull it out and it's like, oh, someone else has gone through this. Someone else, this is reality, and it grounds me, and thank you so much. So words like that just really honor me. Yeah, absolutely.
That makes me happy. The second book is called Squirrel Ice Cream and Other Musings on Life. And so do you want to read us a haiku?
Sure,
And maybe...
absolutely. So this one as well, I did the artwork for, and this is all my hand-dyed fabric. And the Kokopelli man is a symbol of being like the court gesture, kind of a comic, and it goes with this is a lighter book. This has got a lot of funny, quirky things in it. This one's got the big chapter from Florida on it. This one I'm going to read you is from Michigan.
Okay.
Weed store, high quality cannabis, free delivery, and curbside pickup. Could you put any less effort into your life?
And one of our kids lives in Michigan, and so I went to visit him. He closed on he's in college, and he bought a house, and so I went to I'm going to give you a shout out, Gregory. I went to his closing. I surprised him and went to his real estate closing, and we were driving around, and man, marijuana everywhere. Apparently recreational marijuana is, yeah.
It's in Florida too. So yes, there's lots of overlap.
Yeah.
Okay. Angel, the stranger, unremarkable and nondescript, appeared out of nowhere and said, "She has the voice of an angel, so you must let her sing," then vanished as quickly as he appeared. So he asked her to sing, and everything changed.
I like that.
I left a message saying, "Don't call me again." You called back, "Okay."
That's funny.
You have daffodils blooming in February. Mine will show up soon. So they're sweet.
Yeah.
They're
Daffodil, the daffodil is almost like a wildflower, and they're so beautiful when they come, and then they're there and they're just vibrant, and then all of a sudden they're not there the next day. So
right.
And they come the same time every year, and I think oftentimes we forget about daffodils and maybe tiger lilies. You see the side of the road and there's just millions of them, and you're reminded of that. That new time of year.
Yes.
Where the sun comes out and starts heating things back up. About a week or two ago here, it was 8 degrees here.
Yes.
And today it's 70.
Yes.
The high is 67 degrees today, so
and
I'm feeling it on my pants right now.
And in between those, we had snow. So you never know. And they always say in Tennessee, if you just wait 5 minutes, you'll have different weather.
Yeah. That's one of the sayings I remember as well. If you don't like it here, stick around for a couple minutes.
Exactly. This one I'd love to read. It's also from Michigan. Elk Farm. Is it just me, or is it weird and creepy to visit the elk, feed the elk, play with the elk, and eat the elk all on the same day?
They do sell elk meat. That's pretty funny. I like that.
So yeah, it's just like you're talking about the daffodils. It's just about I'm very conscious of being present and being aware of what's happening in the world, and just making an observation about what somebody said, about an old dilapidated sign, about a flower coming up, any trash I find on the side of the road. It's all fodder for my poetry.
I gotcha.
And then my artwork is based. I do a lot of like weaving on found objects and working with found objects. So it's very much about being present.
When you say a found object, give me an example of what.
Rusty washers, not washing machines, but the circles, like from a car.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, rusty washers, oscillating fan cages. Just any. I'm into circles.
Things that don't necessarily have a future use. But
right, absolutely.
Turn into artistic.
Right.
Tell us about somebody who had an influence on you and then your art.
Okay. Well, I would say that's my dad, for sure. And I dedicated actually the first book to him because he was a scientist and an artist and a writer. And so that inspired me that I too could be a scientist, which I am. I'm an occupational therapist and a writer. I've written my books, and an artist. So his showing me that example really just kind of gave me permission to be all that I can be. Sure. Absolutely.
And what was your dad's first name?
James.
James, okay. Yeah. Did he have a nickname?
Jim.
Jim.
Just,
okay, gotcha. Yeah. Sounds like a strong role model for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's my best friend. Anything that I want, any crazy idea I came up with, yeah, we can make that happen, and we would do it. So that was very empowering that anything is possible.
Yes. My daughter also has a strong male figure in her life. And I hear that the young lady, you're a young lady as well, the young lady who has a strong male figure in their life, as opposed to a young lady who doesn't have a strong or any male figure in their life, sometimes makes a big difference in their life. And so I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're giving your dad an attaboy. Paige, we have a big family, and but my daughter lives here in town, and they just had our very first grandbaby.
Nice.
She was 8 weeks old on Friday, so yeah. So our life has been changed quite a bit for the last 60 days here. So since she had little sweet Ruby. So you mentioned you live in Maryville for about 8 years now, and so what do you like about living so close to the mountains?
That's what I like about it. Exactly. I can see the mountains from my house, and I'm on a straight shot through Townsend to go to the park anytime I want to, and that it's really nice to remind myself when I'm running errands to look up and see the mountains, and again be back in the presence as opposed to the workaday mundane, but to appreciate what's really there.
There's a word, mundane. There's a word. How do you take that word even further? Is it mundanity or whatever? Have you heard of that before?
And mundanicity? I have no idea. I like to make up words. That's one of my things.
So I'm an entrepreneur, in the car business and with a finance company and with the insurance company. And so I listen to a lot of people talk about that. And so a lot of people will, or some people rather, not a lot of people, they'll say, the mundaneness of the job is not really what I'm interested in. And so they'll put key people in force, and then they'll still have that creativity that an entrepreneur has, and not necessarily focus on the manager or the technician aspect of the business. So that's the second time I've heard that word lately. And,
interesting.
Very interesting, for sure. So what do you see as your legacy?
Well, I've been told I've changed lives. As an occupational therapist, I work with people who have injuries and disabilities, and I've morphed that into my art career, where I specialized in teaching people with disabilities, special ed kids, things like that, senior citizens who their lives were changing, their skill sets were changing, their abilities were changing, sure. and encouraging them and empowering them to be able to create art regardless of their mental or physical capabilities. And now with my poetry, it's having something to say. It's inspiring people, like the Barbie movie. That was a big hit. Yeah. And I've not seen it yet, but I've heard that women are being inspired to, we deserve better. We don't have to just settle for the lowest common denominator or a bad relationship. Yeah. And so certainly in my first book, talking about narcissistic relationships, and of course we've all kissed frogs, and so it's offering a voice of, you can get out of it. There's humor in it. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and it just gives perspective and for getting out, or for handling it, or for avoiding getting in it in the first place, seeing it for what it is and moving on. Right. So if I can help anybody feel better about their life, then and again, the chapters on just you go, you got this.
Yeah.
Be a cheerleader for somebody. It's, that's why they make lovely Valentine's Day gifts in that too, because it talks about love, it talks about self-love, it talks about just bringing some joy into your life. It works on a lot of levels.
Kindness and joy. So your story about art and senior citizens and their lives changing. I'm a licensed nurse still, and so I used to work at the Veterans Home in Carnes. I ran the pharmacy, and so all 140 beds, I had access to the patients, and so the activity department in the Veterans Home there, they do just a really good job keeping people's minds going and the activities and stuff, and so that's a really big deal to let somebody have that that outlet. And they may be stuck in a wheelchair and they may not be completely lucid, to person, place, and thing, but just to let them sit down and have that tactile experience to paint, or have the bingo or whatever it is at the activities department, music, you'll have somebody come in and play a guitar.
Exactly.
That really does matter. Those are real, I know it's a convalescent home, and that's not necessarily the only thing that happens in a convalescent home. Nursing happens as well, but it's important. So
it's very important.
Yeah.
It's very important, and it's important to hear different kinds of music, not just your favorites, because that stimulates more neurons, to more neural connections, to listen to a variety of music that challenges you mentally.
Right.
And then as far as my art's concerned, I also have 7 or so permanent installations of art around the greater Knoxville area.
Right.
So I'm very proud of those.
So where can somebody go to see some permanent installation of your art?
There's a huge mosaic at Beaumont Art Magnet School that is outside, so you can see that.
And where is Beaumont Magnet School located? I guess on Beaumont?
I believe so.
Okay.
It's near, it's not too, well, you'll have to edit
It's in Knoxville, yeah.
It is in Knoxville.
Yeah.
It is.
We'll put a link on the bottom to where you can actually click in. You can see where they're located and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And Hardin Valley High School it's inside.
Yeah.
But there's a big 110 square foot mosaic there.
Oh wow.
Sweetwater.
Some of our kids went to school at Hardin Valley. Graduated from there.
Okay.
So yeah.
Sweetwater High School has a big 100 square foot mosaic in their school.
That's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
it's huge. Yes. So
Beautiful.
they're around.
So tell me about some effective form of marketing that you've done that helps support your book or your art. Books or art, rather.
Yeah. I find that what works best for me is FaceTime. Knowing me and being in my energy gets people excited, and they want to be part of what I'm doing. So that historically has worked for me better than any ad campaign that I've ever done.
Right.
Yeah, it's that personal touch, the one-on-one.
So just kind of a random question. What is your favorite color? And and why?
Oh, and why? So my favorite color is purple. And in my artwork, there's purple in almost every piece that I do, even if it's just the smallest amount. I will, sometimes I challenge myself to say, let's just make a piece without purple. and then I'll look and I did it, wow. And after a while, I'll look and went, well, somehow the purple snuck in there. It might just be a thread or something, but it's in there. Yeah. And my son is very good art critic. He's a very good artist, and he when he was still living at home, I'd had my design studio was across from his bedroom, and if I would be stuck on a piece, I'd just be looking at it, and it stopped talking to me. And I'd call him. I said, Tyler, come look at this. What am I missing? And he'd sigh, because he has to sigh. And then Mom, put some purple in it, and he'd walk away.
That's funny. You want to? What is Tyler doing now? You said he's
He
out in the world making mom
he's
happy.
He's out in the world. He is a double trailer semi truck driver for FedEx cross country.
Oh wow!
He's got his degree in race car driving mechanics.
Wow!
He used to be on a race car team, and as an avocation, he is a drummer and a photographer. So he's
multifaceted, if nothing else, right?
He's my kid. There's no doubt about it.
And FedEx is a really good job.
It is. You
got to have money to pay the bills, so we can do what we want to do outside of that. But one of the ways that I kind of recognize success in somebody is, and you may or may not agree with this, but if you're able to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, with who you want to do it with.
That's the definition.
Yeah. One last question, that we didn't talk about this question before, so I'm just kind of throwing this on you.
Okay.
But tell me a story about somebody that you met in Florida that was kind.
That was kind?
That was kind and made an impact on you.
In Florida.
You said you went to Florida.
I did.
But let's say it doesn't have to be in Florida, but somebody who, let's say in the last 6 months, that you met that had an impact on you, that was kind and made you feel good about their energy.
Oh, well, that I can do. I took a trip. I'm all about getting out of my comfort zone. Yeah. So I took a road trip up into Canada.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Just this fall.
Oh.
And everybody there, to the person, was so remarkably nice. And I collect rocks. Mm-hmm. And so I met this gal who actually was from Michigan. Mm-hmm. And she gave me all sorts of directions on how I could get to Lake Erie and Lake Superior, Lake Erie and Lake Huron, and what beaches to go to so I could collect rocks, and took time out of running her store to give me that information. So, and even gave me her phone number. Aww. So that if I had any issues, I could reach out to her and
you remember her name?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
So I was going to give her a shout out if she ever was going to watch this video, but we'll give Tyler a shout out.
Yes, for sure.
Just to kind of recap, Baily is open for speaking almost anywhere out of town.
Anywhere in town or across the country, absolutely.
Yeah, she's interested in getting her information about what she does and who she is and her books out into the world. So she's open for speaking engagements here and not here. So she's also open for speaking in any groups of people. So if you've got an idea and you want to text her, give her a call and ask her if you think it's a good idea, then you can do that. And again, her cell phone number is 865-719-9525. We're going to put her cell phone in the show notes, as well as a link to her TikTok and her Facebook. And so, are you pretty active on Facebook?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So click on the Facebook link and you'll be able to interact directly with her with notifications on Facebook as well. Have you had a video on TikTok that's been really successful for you? Or something?
Yeah, I do post videos of my live performances when I'm at Central Cinema. Oh. And I've made because I'm all about, you got to laugh at life. Yeah. I got to keep it light. So I'm really into critters.
Okay.
And so I take photos of critters, and then I've got an app where I can...
Talking about the critter, and you're able to, the app will actually animate the mouth.
Will animate the mouth, and then I will read a poem. Okay. And so the critter is speaking the poem, and I like to do them. I don't know why, but it just feels like I need to do a British accent. And so I'll say, and now a poem from the Haiku Queen, and so it's fun.
What's a common critter you use, like a frog or?
I've got some llamas and some goats and horses and dogs.
That's pretty funny. Yeah,
critters in my life.
Yeah. You mentioned you collect stones. I have to ask you about your necklace. You have a beautiful stone.
Yes.
Hanging on your neck.
Yes,
so where did you get that, and tell us about it?
Oh, this one is from When the water table goes down at Douglas Lake, you can walk the lake.
Oh, wow.
And so I found this and wrapped it and made the necklace.
Yeah.
So I've collected rocks from, I love found objects. So I've gone to Arkansas and gone into the crystal mines and dug up crystals, and gone to the Great Lakes and picked up geodes and crystals and fossils, and then
glass. You get
glass.
Yep, glass from the beach in Michigan.
I tumble some, and I cut and slab and polish some, and I wrap some, which makes they're very zen, the little zen sculptures.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm one with the earth, and that was another hobby I shared with my dad. So yeah.
That looks like somebody could have used that as a tool before. It's the shape of it, you know, it's kind of long, and yeah.
Given the location, very well could have been.
Yeah, very much so. Well, thank you for being on our podcast, Baily. We appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. This has been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.